IVM.
Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav is currently on our minds. And anyway, we all seek freedom. Freedom from worries. Freedom from uncertainty. Freedom from hatred. Freedom from financial stress. But we believe freedom means loads of wealth, which is partially right. So, let's understand freedom from financial stress in the form of health insurance as we take ahead our discussion on a few financial instruments. Mediclaim Policy? Oh, that's what my agent pushes me to buy. No. Let me share some of its realities which will help you overcome the fear of health insurance. Welcome to A Sip of Finance podcast by Priyanka Acharya. I'm your host Shanali, and this is a ladies special podcast that will help you get better with your finances. Conceptualized by Priyanka Acharya, a financial consultant who simplifies a lot of financial jargon for you. She comes with 14 plus years of experience in this field and has helped many grow their money. So, you can now learn simple finance not just in English but in 7 other languages. Let's get started. 2 years ago, my friend Bhavna called when we were all fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. She informed her mom was hospitalized due to COVID. We often sympathize with such news. However, the finance-oriented Priyanka immediately asked, "I hope you have a proper Mediclaim." Bhavna replied, "Yes, we pay total 65,000 every year for all of us." Then she asked, "Do you also have a COVID policy?" And as expected, she answered, "Yeah, I had asked agent uncle and he said COVID is covered in the policy." I knew she hasn't understood what I was exactly asking. But she was in a different trauma and there was no sense disturbing her. In the evening, Bhavna was in tears. She said, "We got her here and then during admission, the hospital told us we can't have cashless facility in treatment." Why? Because the hospital doesn't have a tie-up with the said company. A disappointed Bhavna naturally said, "There is no point in having a Mediclaim. Anyway, there is no benefit. Agent uncle always says cashless. See, I won't get a single rupee today as cashless." I asked her how was auntie doing. She replied, "Mom is under observation. Don't know how she will respond to treatments and don't know how many days she will be here." Bhavna was busy planning which FDs to liquidate to pay for the hospital bills. So, for the listeners' benefit, let me highlight that Mediclaim companies now have a direct deal with hospitals. For the patient, the treatment becomes cashless. The patient does not pay the bill. It is directly settled between the insurance company and the hospital. Only out-of-pocket expenses are to be paid by the patient. So, for example, if the bill is 3 lakhs and the health insurance company approves 2,90,000, then the patient has to only clear the extra 10,000. But with Bhavna, the case was reversed. She had to go by the reimbursement option since the hospital didn't fall in the cashless list of the hospital. Bhavna had to prematurely withdraw her investments and arrange money. She was to get her reimbursement after the submission of post-discharge documents. Finally, after 10 days, auntie was discharged safely and Bhavna was happy that after all these efforts, at least her mother is back home safely. Now, after discharge, Bhavna arranged documents to submit for reimbursement. She thought, now that mom is safe, I can rebuild our lost castle. But life is never too easy when we ignore the little facts of finance that matter the most. If you all can recollect, COVID patients used to crib about huge expenses of PPE kits and other equipment which are never covered by normal policies. Here, the company deducted 33,000 from her bill as equipment expenses not covered. Again, Bhavna was clueless and called up. Now again I asked her, did you have a COVID policy for auntie? And she said the same thing. COVID is covered. Bhavna, what you are saying is hospitalization expenses for COVID. But did you not know that IRDA had specially made a provision with two new plans, Corona Rakshak and Corona Kavach? It has minuscule premiums but is used to ensure that these heavy equipment's expenses are covered under it. Bhavna said, Rakshak? Kavach? Oh, now I remember. I used to get some WhatsApp broadcast messages from my agent, but I never called him or spoke about it since I thought he may force me to buy the policy for his own sales targets. Now 33,000 was a big burden, a scar on the family which needed a lot of time to heal. Friends, this is such a sad state. The episode is not meant to narrate a sad story. I'm here to tell you 3 basic things which we must never ignore in health insurance. First, please keep a list handy carrying information of 3 nearby hospitals in your area and the 3 topmost hospitals in your city. You must know if these 6 to 7 hospitals would take care of cashless or not. Revisit this information once every time you're renewing your policy to ensure you're updated. If you find the network hospital is no more networked, then identify another hospital to ensure smooth functioning. Second, please maintain a rapport with your health insurance advisor. Once every 3 or 6 months, call the advisor home or meet online. Make your family members aware, first of all, who is the advisor, what he or she does, where he or she lives, and basic other information so that they don't hesitate while calling an agent in the time of emergency. Clear out to the advisor that this regular meeting is for self-recall of features and to ensure the family knows all details. Third, when you renew the health insurance, usually every year, you need to see how outdated or modern the coverage is. We renovate our homes every 5 to 6 or 10 years. But if your policy is just getting renewed year by year, it surely needs attention and then a conscious renovation. Instead of being left with sympathy for Bhavna, let us all decide to attain freedom from ignorance and half knowledge of our mediclaims. Let life too be an Amrit Mahotsav with proper coverage. That's a wrap on this episode of A Sip of Finance podcast. We will see you in the coming week. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this podcast helpful, do give us a shout out on social media and tag us. It will help us empower more people. If you want to reach out to Priyanka, she is available on Instagram at Priyanka Acharya and on LinkedIn as Priyanka Acharya. You can listen to this podcast on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Do follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to A Sip of Finance by Priyanka Acharya.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina explains how to strike a perfect balance between your professional and personal life. On Probation Se Promotion Tak, Abhinav Trivedi shares the challenges he faced when he turned from a non-reader to a reader. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik talks to Narayan Subramaniam. He is the CEO of Ultraviolet Automotive, and they discuss the importance of design in making quality automobiles. On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth explains Instagram's new testing algorithm, its effect on creators, and its chances of success. And on Storytellers and Storytellers, Vineet talks to Imbisat Ahmed, the CEO of edtech startup Philo. Imbisat chats about the problems in Indian education. Once again, would like to remind you all about our merch. There's some amazing stuff out there. Please go to our website, ivmpodcast.com, click on the shop tab, and do check out what's available there. I'm sure you'll find something you like. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And also, I'd like to remind you all to please tell a friend about this show if you're enjoying it. It will give you somebody to talk to the show about. Yeah, it really does help us too, so that too. Also, please rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on, and you can check us out on YouTube. We have a page on our website which basically lists all our YouTube channels. Please go check that out. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Boat Lifestyle, Small Case, and Intel vPro. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.